rains left months ago, and they are not coming back soon. What remains is a plain stripped down to its essentials: dust, bone, dry grass, and hunger, sharpened on both sides of the food chain until it cuts like a blade. Out here, there is an old and comfortable myth that predators live above the danger they deal out. That teeth and claws are a kind of immunity from harm. This morning, on this plain, that myth is about to be tested again and again until nothing is left of it. To hunt on this plain is not to be safe. It is to volunteer morning after morning for a wager that can turn against you in half a second. A horn instead of a throat. A rival's jaws instead of a meal. A mistake paid for in blood that is not the praise. Every hunter you are about to meet is capable of killing. Not one of them is guaranteed to walk away unhurt. This is the dry season savanna, stretched thin over a razor's edge, a world where every advantage a predator carries into a hunt is matched somewhere on this same plain by a piece of prey willing to fight back with everything it owns. A kick that can shatter a skull, a horn that can open a chest, a venom that can stop a heart in minutes. Out here, being the hunter has never once meant being safe. And today, on this ground, that lesson will land on more than one of them. They are called painted wolves for the ragged blotches of color scattered across their coats, and pound for pound, they are among the most successful hunters this continent has ever produced. But success out here has never once meant safety. And before this single day is finished, this pack will learn that lesson in the cruelest way survival can teach it. African savanna, even predators can fall. "14 dogs, roughly 130 impala. On paper, this should not be a fair fight. A single impala can outrun any dog over a short burst, cutting and doubling with a grace no predator on this plain can match stride for stride. But wild dogs were never built to win a sprint. They were built to win a war of attrition, fought in relays, by animals that simply refuse to stop. Watch the shape of this. It is not a charge. It is a pincer, built from patience rather than speed. And it depends entirely on a single brutal truth. An impala can beat one dog easily. It cannot beat 6 dogs, and then 8 more, taking turns, for as long as it takes. This is the first cut of the relay, not a kill attempt yet, but a sorting. Drive the herd until one animal makes the wrong choice, breaks the wrong direction, or simply tires a half step before the others. On a plain this dry, With grass this brittle, that half step is the only currency that matters. And no impala out here gets to spend it twice. Not every hunt on this plain needs a pack or a plan or even a running start. Somewhere else entirely, a smaller specialist solves the exact same problem: how to turn hunger into a meal. With nothing but coiled muscle and a single explosive moment of pure vertical violence. One shot at the sky, no second chance if it misses. This is the moment that separates a wild dog hunt from almost any other chase on this continent. The handoff. The tired dogs do not need to catch him. They only needed to run him somewhere. The fresh dogs were already waiting. The ram doesn't know it yet, but he has just run directly into his own ambush. "40 miles an hour feels unbeatable for the first 10 seconds. It means very little at the 2-minute mark, when lungs are burning and legs no longer answer commands the way they did at the start. The ram is still running. He is no longer escaping, and on this plain, that difference is the only one that has ever mattered. It is over almost before it begins to look like a kill at all. No prolonged fight, no drawn-out suffering, just the sudden, total collapse of an animal that has simply run out of everything it had left to give. For 14 hungry dogs, after a hard morning's work spent splitting, driving, and relaying across open ground, this should be the easiest part of the entire day. Wild dogs eat fast for exactly this reason. They have almost no ability to defend a kill against anything larger than themselves. And on this plain, hunger has a way of finding success from a very long way off. One hyena alone outweighs any single dog in this pack more than 3 times over. What she lacks in speed and teamwork, she's about to make up for entirely in size and sheer, indifferent nerve. "14 dogs, 1 hyena." And still, in the space of about 4 seconds, the entire outcome of this hunt is rewritten completely. This is not a fair fight, and it was never going to be. Size and raw aggression simply outweigh numbers when the numbers involved are built for speed instead of size. The pack did everything right this morning. It will not matter, not even a little, in about 30 more seconds. This is the lesson every wild dog on this plain learns early, or does not survive long enough to learn twice. A successful hunt and a full stomach are not the same thing, and the gap between them can be stolen by something bigger in less time than it takes to draw a single breath. Even the perfect hunt, executed exactly as it should be, can end in absolutely nothing at all. He was once the animal every predator on this plain learned to avoid. A full ton of muscle and horn, tempered by a rage that has ended more hunts than it has ever lost. Age has not been kind to him. Pushed from his herd by younger, stronger bulls, he now stands entirely alone. And 3 lions, hunting not as a full pride, but as a small, opportunistic trio, have just noticed exactly what that means. A lone buffalo should be an easy target. No herd to raise the alarm, no wall of horns to hide behind, nothing but one aging animal against 3 healthy predators working in concert. That is the calculation these 3 lions are making right now. It is not, as they are about to learn, the whole calculation. And old bulls exiled from the safety of a herd tend to have very little left to lose. Nothing happens on this plain without an audience. Long before the outcome of this confrontation is decided, smaller eyes are already watching, already calculating what might be left over once the larger animals are finished settling the matter between them. He has fought this fight before, more times than any of these 3 lions have been alive. There is no fear in the way he turns to meet them. Only the flat, practiced calculation of an animal that has survived exactly this kind of ambush again and again, and intends to make these 3 regret trying it a final time. This is the instant the trio has been building toward. 3 against 1, speed and numbers against age and bulk. For a moment, it looks like exactly what it was supposed to be. 3 lions overwhelming a single, tired old animal who should, by every reasonable measure, already be finished. This was never going to be a hunt where the prey simply stands and dies. A ton of enraged muscle does not care how many attackers are involved. It cares only about the nearest target. And right now, that target is fighting back with everything an old and dying body still has left to spend. This is the moment the entire episode has been building toward. The moment that proves, beyond any argument, that a hunter's confidence is not the same thing as a hunter's safety. A lion did not walk into this fight expecting to be the one carried out of it. But the plain does not care what any predator expects. It only cares what actually happens. There is no triumphant roar here, no clean kill to close the scene. Only a badly wounded lioness being half carried away by the 2 who love her, and an old battered bull left standing alone on the ground, where by every expectation this morning, he was supposed to have died. Sometimes the law of the wild simply refuses to write the ending anyone predicted. A deep wound like this one does not heal in a day. And out here, a lioness who cannot hunt at full strength for the next several weeks is a lioness whose survival is now measured differently than it was this morning. Even a predator that walks away from the fight can still, in every way that matters, have lost it. She is hunting entirely alone for one of the first times in her life. Without sisters to share the risk, without a mother's example to correct her mistakes before they become fatal. Ahead of her, browsing calmly among the treetops, stands a target that has killed careless lions before, and given no warning whatsoever before doing it. Most predators on this plain leave giraffe alone, and for good reason. An adult stands taller than a basketball hoop, weighs more than a small car, and can see danger coming from nearly a mile away. But a calf, still unsteady on legs it has owned for only a few months, looks like exactly the kind of opportunity a hungry, inexperienced hunter finds impossible to ignore. She is not entirely alone up there. The small birds riding her back trade a lifetime of free meals for exactly this. A second, sharper set of eyes trained on the ground below, tuned to exactly the kind of movement a crouching lioness cannot fully hide. This morning, that quiet arrangement may be the only warning she gets. Then, a shift in the wind. Just a single degree, just enough. The deer doesn't see the cat. She doesn't need to. Something in the air has changed, and 40 million years of instinct is already screaming at her to move before she even understands why, before her conscious mind has caught up at all. She goes, flat out, all 4 feet leaving the ground at once, 35 miles an hour of raw muscle detonating across 40 feet of open forest floor. The deer breaks the same instant, and the gap that mattered a second ago is already growing, foot by foot, faster than either animal can fully process. And there it is, the exit built into this terrain from the very beginning. A slope too steep, too broken, too thick with thorn for a sprinting cat to follow without risking a fall she can't afford. This far from any help, this hungry, this alone on a mountain that owes her nothing. Gone. Not because the Puma was too slow. For 3 seconds, she was the fastest thing in this forest. But an ambush predator only gets one window, and once it closes, no amount of muscle buys it back. Tonight, she goes hungry, and somewhere deeper in the mist, she starts again, because there is no other option left to her. Downslope in warmer, wetter forest, a different kind of hunter proves that in Colombia, size means almost nothing if you've got the right company. Meet the bush dog, barely bigger than a house cat, and one of the most effective pack hunters on the entire continent, despite looking like an afterthought of one, an evolutionary rough draft that somehow works. They hunt almost nothing like their canine cousins. No solitary stalk, no single ambush. A bush dog pack reads a scent trail like one organism, spreading, converging, sealing off every possible line of escape before the chase has even started, before the prey even knows it is being hunted at all. A paca, 20 pounds of solid muscle, built to vanish into burrows most predators can't follow. But a burrow only helps if you reach it first, and this pack has already cut off every route back to safety, working the ground like they've hunted this exact stretch of forest 100 times before this morning. This is the trick that makes them so dangerous. No single bush dog has to run the pasa into the ground alone. They trade the lead, one after another, relentless. A relay the pasa has no real way of winning, no matter how many turns it manages to buy itself in the chase. And now, the real trap reveals itself. Bush dogs are exceptional swimmers, genuinely rare among wild canids. And every pesa in this forest learns, usually too late, that the water it's fleeing toward offers no mercy at all, only a different kind of danger waiting in a different medium entirely. In the water, the odds flip completely. What was an escape route becomes a dead end, and within seconds, the outcome is no longer in doubt. The law of this forest doesn't pause for a body of water. It simply changes shape and keeps righting itself all the same, current or no current. There's no dominant feeder gorging while the rest wait their turn. The pack that hunted together eats together. Because out here, the bond that makes 6 small animals more dangerous than one large one is worth more than any single meal. And every member of this pack seems to understand that instinctively. Not every animal in this country survives by killing. The giant anteater eats nothing bigger than an insect. 6 feet of muscle and claw built entirely around a diet of ants and termites, and nothing else at all. Which makes what happens next almost impossible to believe. And yet, it happens here more often than most people realize. To a hungry cat, this looks like the easiest meal on the savanna. Slow-moving, nearly blind. No teeth worth mentioning, no horns, no hooves that could do any real damage. Every instinct built over 10,000 generations tells this puma that here, finally, is a kill without risk of any kind. "10 feet, 8. The anteater's small eyes and dense fur give almost nothing away. And for a moment it seems like the ambush will land clean, the way it's landed for this puma 100 times before, against 100 other animals far less prepared than this one turns out to be. But this is not a defenseless animal caught off guard. It's a 6-foot wall of muscle that has just turned to face the threat head-on. Standing tall on legs built to bear its full weight, arms open like it's daring the cat to commit to a fight it clearly did not plan for tonight. The puma commits anyway. Instinct says this is an easy kill. Instinct, this time, is about to be badly, permanently wrong. There is no hesitation in the strike itself, only in what happens in the single, brutal second after it lands, a second that will change everything for both of them. And the anteater answers with everything it has. Those 4-inch claws, built to tear open concrete-hard termite mounds, rake across the puma's shoulder with enough force to open flesh to the bone. This is not a fight the cat expected to be in, and every second it stays in it costs more than the last. Elsewhere in this country, danger doesn't need claws at all. The golden poison frog carries enough toxin in its skin to end the life of almost anything that touches it. The single most lethal animal on Earth, ounce for ounce, and it never has to move an inch to prove it to anyone. The puma retreats, wounded, humiliated, and lucky. Real, documented encounters exist of this exact confrontation, ending the other way entirely, with the predator never getting back up at all. Today, this cat walks away with a debt paid in blood. Not every cat does, and this one will carry the scars for the rest of her life. Within a minute, the anteater is feeding again, as if nothing happened at all. In a country full of teeth and claws, sometimes the most dangerous animal in the scene is the one that never intended to fight in the first place, until it had no other choice left, and answered that choice without flinching. East of the mountains, the land flattens into something almost oceanic. The Yanos, a seasonal wetland the size of small countries, flooded half the year and baked dry the other half. Every dry season waterhole here becomes a stage for the oldest transaction in nature, played out again and again under an open, unforgiving sky. And waiting in that water is the largest crocodilian in the Americas, the Orinoco crocodile. Once hunted to the edge of extinction for its hide, only a few thousand remain in the wild today. What's left are the specialists, the ones patient enough to survive anything, including us, and everything we once did to them across a century of hunting. The capybara knows this water isn't safe. Every capybara in the Yanos is raised knowing it, taught by mothers who survived exactly this kind of afternoon and passed the caution down without a single word spoken. But water is also the only relief from the heat, and eventually, thirst rewrites even the best instincts an animal is born with. One steps closer than the rest, close enough that the water barely ripples with each lapping breath. Somewhere beneath that same surface, 16 feet of ancient predator hasn't moved in over an hour, and doesn't need to move now either. Not yet. Not until the distance closes to exactly the right measurement. This is patience taken to its absolute limit. No stalk, no chase. Just stillness, held for as long as it takes. Because in this waterhole, the animal that moves first is almost always the animal that loses everything in the next half second, no matter how strong or how fast it is. And then, nothing slow about it at all. One lunge. 2,000 pounds of bite force closing in under a fifth of a second, faster than the eye can properly follow. The capybara never even gets a second step, let alone a chance to turn back toward the safety of the herd. The Orinoco crocodile doesn't need to chase, doesn't need to run anything down across open ground. It only needs the water to stay still long enough. And in a wetland this size, stillness is the one thing it is never, ever short of, season after season, year after year. When the sun goes down, this forest doesn't go quiet. It changes ownership entirely. The ocelot, barely 30 pounds of muscle and spotted fur, becomes one of the most efficient killers in the entire rainforest after dark. A shape built to disappear the instant it stops moving through the shadows. Its eyes gather 6 times more light than a human's ever could. Down there, in the near total black, an agouti works through fallen fruit, utterly confident in a darkness it can barely see through. A darkness the ocelot reads like broad daylight, every shape and shadow perfectly legible to it. Every paw finds ground before any weight settles onto it. No snapped twig, no rustled leaf, just a shape sliding through shadow, closing the distance one silent heartbeat at a time. Patient in a way that looks almost gentle from the outside looking in. 10 feet. This is where it ends, one way or another. Close enough that the next move decides everything. And the agouti still hasn't looked up from the fruit scattered at its feet, entirely unaware how little time it has left. Not every predator in this forest bothers to move at all. The fer-de-lance simply waits, coiled, unseen, patient enough to let danger walk right past or straight into it. In Colombia's lowlands, sometimes the deadliest thing in the room is the one nobody ever notices until it's far too late to matter. It's over in less than a second. No prolonged struggle, no wasted motion. A precise, surgical kill from an animal built for exactly this single purpose and nothing else in the world beyond it. Tonight or any other night. Mountains, wetland, and rainforest. 3 countries worth of wilderness. And we haven't even reached the coast yet. Follow any one of Colombia's rivers far enough, and it eventually forgets the jungle entirely, and remembers instead that somewhere ahead of it, the sea has been waiting patiently all along for its return. Where the Caribbean meets Colombia's coastline, another crocodile rules a completely different kind of water. Brackish, tidal, tangled in mangrove roots. The American crocodile doesn't share much territory with its Orinoco cousin inland. It doesn't need to. This is its own kingdom, built entirely on salt, mud, and tide. Leaner and more coastal built than the freshwater giant of the Yanos. This crocodile patrols channels that rise and fall with the tide twice a day, hunting whatever the sea brings within reach. Fish, wading birds, anything careless enough to linger too long at the waterline after dusk. A snowy egret works the shallows, confident in the advantage of its long legs and quicker eyes. It has done this 1,000 times before without incident. It has no way of knowing this particular crocodile has been drifting closer, unhurried, for the last 4 minutes, timing its approach perfectly. The strike is sideways, low, and impossibly fast for something that looked, seconds ago, like a floating log drifting lazily with the tide. There is no second chance in water this shallow. Only the difference between a wing beat too slow and a wing beat just fast enough to matter. Not every story on this coastline ends in blood. Sometimes the wetlands simply erupt in color. Scarlet ibis lifting off the shallows by the hundreds. A reminder that this same brackish water hiding a killer also feeds an entire kingdom of impossibly bright, impossibly alive things every single day. 2 crocodiles, 2 rivers, 2 very different kingdoms. One carved from an inland floodplain the size of a small nation. The other stitched together from tidal creeks that rise and fall with the moon twice a day. The law is exactly the same in both. Only the address and the water's taste has changed.
Back in the clouds, days later, the same Puma is hungrier now. Hungry enough that another failed chase could be the difference that matters most in her entire life. but something about the way she's moving tonight is different. She isn't tracking a scent. She's studying the ground itself, reading it like a map only she can see. The chase days ago failed because open ground favors the runner, not the ambusher. She hasn't forgotten that lesson. This time, there will be no chase at all. Only a place, chosen with total precision, where a chase will never even need to happen in the first place at all. She climbs onto the ledge above the trail and simply stops moving. No stalking, no closing distance, because up here, distance has already been solved entirely. All that's left now is time and the patience to let it pass without ever breaking, no matter how long it takes.
Below, a buck follows the same trail deer have used for generations, because it has never once given them a single reason not to. Today, all that history, all that inherited trust in this exact stretch of ground is about to stop mattering completely and permanently. There is nowhere to bolt from here. No ravine, no thicket, no open ground to outrun anything at all. The very geography that once saved a deer's life in this forest has just been turned completely, quietly, against one, without a single sound of warning. No sprint, no 35-mile-an-hour gamble across open ground this time. Just gravity, timing, and 140 pounds of cat falling exactly where it needs to fall. This is the strike that never has to chase anything at all. Only wait for it to arrive on its own. It's over almost as fast as it began. Off it goes. No prolonged struggle this time, no window for escape, because there was never a chase in the first place to give one a chance to open at all for the buck. Even now, the danger isn't fully gone. A carcass left out in the open is an invitation to every larger, hungrier thing in this forest. She works quickly, dragging her kill into the shadows where, for now, it belongs only to her and no one else. "9 days ago, speed failed her. Today, patience and a few feet of vertical rock succeeded where a full sprint downhill never could have. Out here, the lesson is always the same one, taught 1,000 different ways across 1,000 different mornings. Strength alone never wins. Only the hunter who learns does, and lives to hunt another day. A pack that wins by numbers. A giant that wins by refusing to be easy prey. A crocodile that wins by never moving at all, until it's already too late to matter. A small cat that wins in total silence. 6 very different hunters. 6 very different corners of the same small country. And not one of them plays by anyone else's rules but their own. Learned the hard way over countless generations. There are no villains in any of this. No heroes either. Just a country so layered with life that the same unbroken rule, eat or be eaten, adapt or disappear, gets rewritten 12 different ways between one mountain and one shoreline. In the Andes, it looks like patience. On the coast, it looks like stillness in the tide. Underneath, it is always, everywhere, the same law, older than the mountains themselves. Snow to shoreline in one frame under one falling sun. Tomorrow, the mist will roll back over these mountains. The water will go still again in the Yanos. And somewhere between the two, the law of the wild will start writing itself all over again. The same as it has for millions of years. And the same as it will long after every camera here has gone dark and every light has faded to black. A few feet from where death is being carefully arranged, life goes on paying no attention at all. The sword-billed hummingbird, the only bird on Earth with a beak longer than its own body, feeds on a flower no other creature in this forest can reach. Not every story up here is a hunt, and this one never will be.